Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amarit. I'm a Thai Fintech Secretary General, and today we have Peter Tay, Chief Digital Officer from Vietnam, and we have Louis Lee, MD of Asia Pacific from CoverGo. So hope you guys enjoy Thailand this
Thank
week.
you. Yeah,
Thank you.
very glad to be here.
So today we're going to talk about the concept of creating accessibility to reduce opportunity gaps, partially in emerging economy like us, strategize on achieving insurance for all, and expanding market reach, leveraging technology for inclusive products, design and distribution, the role of partnership in broadening access and understanding in evolving needs for diverse customer segment. So we expect the key takeaway today is how insurance industry like us can leverage emerging trend and technology to expand accessibility to reduce opportunity gaps. It will focus on strategize for insurance for all. So let me start with the first question first. So why insurance need to be inclusive? So we're going to ask you guys both. So we have two sub-questions under there. Is insurance is often seen as privilege rather than right. So why insurance for all is a critical mission for insurance industry today? And how do you see inclusive insurance contributing to quality of life in today's changing world? So who want to go first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I think it is a fair observation that insurance was a privilege. And that's because insurance as a product, I think for all of us who are in the industry, it is a complex product. And traditionally, this is a paper-based business. It is sold through intermediaries and in order to reach the audience. So the entire economic construct of it does require a certain segment of people to afford this product. So by design, it becomes what we term as a privileged product. And for decades, I think for insurers, we have been struggling to how do we reach the unserved and underserved and to run this business in a profitable way, because insurers do need to make sure that it's a sustainable business in the longer run. And I think over time and in recent advancement of tech and all, I think this has become reasonably possible, right? And just a couple of years back, if you talk about insurance for all, we tend to wear the lens like this is a moral mission, trying to make insurance accessible. But I think you fast forward to today, or you look forward to the future, I think this has become something reasonable for a business to consider, that this could be one of the largest opportunity for you to reach both the tech and untapped business. And I've been in insurance for many years, and of course, recent days, getting into the InsurTech and all, we literally can see that this InsurTech has the possibility to bridge this gap and to uplift the life of the people in the society. Touching on the point about how does this bring about improving the quality of life and all, I think insurance, most times we see this as a product that gives you a peace of mind. And that itself is correct, but it is a bit passive. Insurance itself, if it's taken in a very positive note, positive way, it actually has the ability to change your behaviors. You just imagine making insurance product available for the gig economy, for the ride-hailing drivers and all. They go to work, they go to the road, they go to their everyday work with confidence, right? It changed their life, it gave them uplift their lifestyle, and it gave them a lot of confidence for them to tackle their work, right? So I think it is a critical mission today because we have the ability to, and more importantly is this has already become a business and economic imperative. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Maybe let me tell you a story, my personal experience. So I grew up in Australia, and I moved to Hong Kong, where I live now, to work 15 years ago. And Hong Kong, just like Singapore, is very common for young families to have domestic helper in the family to take care of the kids, take care of the chores. I know in Thailand it's also common for certain people. I met my friend last night, and he said he's bringing his family over, and the helpers will be great. Now the helpers are usually from Philippines, Indonesia, Bangladesh, different places. And a few years ago, this is before COVID, I saw the news right, whereby one of the domestic helper got cancer and was fired by the employer. I go, wow, okay, what does that mean? Because as you know, the domestic helper, when they come from Philippines, Indonesia, they are actually the breadwinner of their family. Their family back home actually don't have a decent salary, okay? So their salary actually in Hong Kong, Singapore, or maybe even in Bangkok, actually is more than enough for their family. But if they lose their job for whatever reason, okay, if they have a disease, if they lost their life, touch wood, okay, they lose everything, okay? So at the time I was at a reinsurer, I was a product actuary, we decided, okay, how do we actually give something easy to purchase? So we just make it very simple. 1% of the month's salary, okay, automatic deducted because they did transmit money back home. And then in return, they get 3 times annual salary as a sum insured, which makes a huge difference if something happens to them. Their family back home in Philippines, Indonesia is still looked after, okay? So that's something as an industry we should do more of because everyone, low-income earners, they're still struggling to survive, okay? But if something happens to the breadwinner, then who is going to look after the family? So to me, that's quite important.
So thank you both. So we're going to go to the second thing is barrier and growth for journey of you guys' products. So Peter, could you share like income first? What is the most significant shift you have seen for the customer expectation that forcing insurer to rethink, to design new kind of product like this?
Okay, I think the consumer expectation has shifted tremendously, especially post-COVID. And one of the trend that I'm seeing is that insurance itself, consumer begin to see it almost like a feature rather than a product. So let me explain a little bit on this. I think consumers today lead their lives largely on huge digital ecosystems, digital platforms, and be it in Thailand, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, you know. There's only a few large ecosystems that run all kinds of services, right? You literally lead your life through ride-hailing, banking, ecosystem, shopping, etc., etc. So I think because of the nature of this, insurance for the decades has always been what we call a high-friction activity, right? You literally have to decide to want to buy insurance, and then you reach out to an agent or a broker or intermediaries, and then you buy. This is a highly frictional journey because nobody wakes up and wanting to buy, right? And insurance itself, as you all would agree with me, I hope, that it is a boring industry, right? Because it is a product that you don't look forward to. You do not follow an insurer on their social media just to find out what new product they have. You don't, right? You really don't. It is a product that you feel that when you have a need, but unfortunately it's a product that when you have a need, you can no longer buy, right? So it's a very strange product. You buy it when you don't need it, so that when you need it, you have it, right? So this is a product that is very different from an FMCG product, right? So when the consumer expectation and their daily life begin to change because of all these ecosystem partners that they deal with and all, their expectation of insurer changes too, right? So for a traditional insurer who tend to sell a very traditional product, you've got to lock in for long-term commitment and all, I find that it's hard to fit the lifestyle today. So in Singapore, I work with Grab, our partner for many years. We designed a product that is meant for the Grab drivers. This product exists within the driver's app, and they just need to make one time, right? They sign up, and every trip that they take, for example, if the trip costs 300 baht, they can decide, maybe I will part just 10 baht and help me to buy a critical illness. And this thing happens invisible, right? Every day they just go about their daily lives. That's why I meant that it's like a feature. You just go on to your daily lives, but let the insurer help you to build up your insurance portfolio. And we see this happening, and we begin to develop this, hopefully to go into a larger audience and to work with other ecosystems. But for the Grab exercise that we did, we find that embedding and making this as part of what they already do, you remove the inertia of them hoping that they wake up and then they decided that insurance is important, and then they go and find a broker, to find an insurance agent, and begin to buy. And even when you reach that stage, you found out that the traditional insurance require a huge sum of money every month, right? You don't have the ability to decide, can I just buy 10 baht? But now we make it possible, right? So I think this is a time when I think, not just for me, I think for all the insurers out there, for all the tech players out there, I think we have a job on hand is to how do we rethink traditional product and to make them accessible, simple, and it fits the context of the consumer. Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. So let's go to you, Lewis. So many insurers struggle with the legacy system and slow product launch. So how does CoverGo approach have solved this pain point?
Yeah, so I'll answer the question in two ways. So CoverGo, first and foremost, is an insurance technology company, a SaaS platform that works with insurance companies to digitize the process much easier and much faster. Over the more recent years, CoverGo built a lot of AI agents. And let me come back to the AI agents, to the point of insurance for all. Insurance, like Peter said, is not something that people think about every day. Impossible, right? Even if you're very well educated, you're not going to think about it. And when you need it, you still don't understand insurance because you're not coming from that background, okay? You need to learn. And that's why there exists agents and brokers for them to sell, in some ways educate the concept of insurance to everyday people, right? But for the mass market, for the low income, the ticket size is too small. So the agents will not go and do the education because the effort it takes doesn't make sense for their ticket size of the insurance premium, okay? So then the next evolution was digital. So you're trying to push digital messages, blogs, YouTube video content to help educate. But again, because people are not watching these every day, right? And they need to learn it. It's not going to be easy. This is where AI starts to come in. For me, the whole AI concept, generative AI, it's going to change how the world learns things, okay? Not just insurance, everything. Because AI can literally give you information at your pace, at your, the way you want to receive the information. And I actually believe that AI can help significantly elevate the education and the need for insurance for everybody.
Peter, you want to add on AI a little bit more? How can this impact and transform our industry? Since you are in this industry longer than all of us.
I think the fact is this AI, I think it caught the world by storm, really. And for regulated industries, especially like us, insurers, the banks and all, the biggest impact is that today, the regulation couldn't catch up with it, right? And it's rightfully so, because to regulate something and to govern something, you really need to fully understand it. But the rate of change and the advancement of it is so fast, right, that even for you and I today, I think on our everyday lives, I use AI almost every day, right? I use it to plan my meetings, I use it to plan my trips. Even before I buy anything, I ask them which is better. And then when they tell me which is better, I say, where is cheaper? You literally ask them to make every decision. Of course, at the end, you make the final decision, right? You use it to support you, to supplement it. But when it comes to insurance today, you realize that the insurer don't have such personalization for you, right? So that becomes a gap, right? That will exist, I personally believe will exist for a while. Just because today the AI impact, while we see all the good side of it because of the personal level, it helps us in terms of efficiency, productivity and all. I think on the downside of it is, I think it remains unanswered is, how can this be regulated really? When something goes wrong, how do we blame this AI now, right? That's one. Two, most importantly, at least for the world of insurance, I think how consumer can be protected in the long run, right? How do we ensure that what this AI has recommended or has in a way enabled that sales is gone through in a proper way, right? It is fit and it's proper. So I think this will play out for a while, but I think the immediate impact, as the question suggests, is really, I think the governance and the regulation of it will have to catch up, and then we can think about it more as a responsible AI rather than just AI on its own sake. Yeah.
Thanks, Peter. So actually, what I want to ask is, the next thing is, what is the framework for you guys to do product development cycle, especially to identify the unmet demand and the underserved market? Can any of you share?
Peter, because you're more the insurer side, we're just more the tech side. So maybe Peter, you go first. Yeah.
Okay, so I think from the world of insurance, if you think at a very, very macro level today, I dare say in most countries, insurer will easily cover. If you look at the whole population, I think we look easily at the 30 to 70 percentile, easy, right? Over the years, I think we begin to start to think about the 20 and the 80th percentile in between, right? That's what the mass insurance is about. The top tier, these are people whom we say they actually can insure themselves, they don't need insurers to take care of them. And then we have a bottom segment of the society where insurance is really not the top of their priority, right? And this is where the state actually will fund certain things or the charitable organization will take over. Now from this suite of things, I think there are times where we say that a customer may not necessarily know what they want as well, right? So this is a case where can a product in the market, can they satisfy the needs, or can they satisfy certain needs that the customer don't even know? So I think as an insurer, most times it's a very traditional sense, and it's a very efficient market because it exists for the longest time, is that largely whatever in the product that's in the market today, these are the product that's needed. There's no need to think because that's why you get the volume, you get the sustainability of it. But when we look at new product development, we tend to look at actually society as a whole, what are the kind of industries that has already been disrupted? So for example, when transportation get disrupted, when the taxi business get disrupted, then we look at the Grab drivers and say that, hey, actually there's a new risk that evolved, there's a new audience there, and every time when there's a new disrupted economy or industry, there is always a new risk, right? And we insurer is in the risk business, we love risk, right? And we see new risk, we say, hey, there's an opportunity. I think that's how we think about a newer product development cycle as we go about, because the way tech is evolving, I think more and more pockets of this is evolving. If we continue to stay with the old traditional way, just think about life, health, property and casualty, I think you'll be very stuck in the usual thing. Now I think we go into, can inconvenience be insured, for example? Can I just cover something just because you experience some inconvenience, right? So I think this is a whole new world of things. I will not go to the nuts and bolts on exactly how we develop the product, but I think largely that's how we think about things. Yeah.
And maybe supplement as well is that when we say insurance for all and underserved, people think about low income a lot, but there's actually one large segment of underserved, and that's what we call the substandard, right? They already have some pre-existing condition, maybe mild, maybe even more serious, right? But the accessibility to insurance is very hard. A lot of insurers prefer to underwrite healthy lives, right? Because it's predictable, it's more, perhaps more profitable. But actually people that actually do need insurance is those with some sort of substandard. They need certain type of products, not only the insurance products, but they also need a lifestyle program to help them improve their health, okay? Whether it's exercise or eating or even manage their health, health management system. So that's a huge underserved segment. I think insurers and also partnering with technology is able to give accessibility to all.
Thanks, boss. So if you need one key metric to measure the progress toward insurance for all, could you share and why?
Sure. I think this should be a straightforward metrics. If there's only one, I would think it would be the number of lives if we are thinking about insurance for all. I personally think that the notion of insurance for all, you shouldn't worry about how much premium a person is covering and whether the protection or the coverage is enough for the person. I think we are not after those things. I think what is important is, can we get everyone to start their insurance journey? Actually, even the moment they put 10 baht to buy a protection, if something happens, they are already better off than not having the 10 baht or buying this insurance. So to me, it would be straightforward. It would be the number of lives. Yeah.
I fully agree with Peter. Because the background I came from, the reinsurance background, is protection gap is talked about a lot, but when you look at the protection gap statistics, a lot of it is based on GDP and the premium, okay? So if there is a high concentration of, let's say, mass affluent buying insurance, the protection gap reduces. But that doesn't make sense because then the underserved is actually not buying. So the number of lives is actually the right measure, yeah?
Okay, so we'll go through the last section is about ecosystem and future outlook. So first question of this will be, which collaboration between insurance industry and tech is the most effective way for broadening the access? So who want to go first?
So maybe I'll just go first and I'll just share a quick example. So I think in this area of work, in the recent development, I think embedded insurance would be the one I think that is the most effective broadening access. The key principle lies in, I think we always think about insurer, intermediaries, and then the consumer. And then when we think about digital, we think about the insurer and the consumer, which is direct. But I think if talking about broadening access, I think the ecosystem partners that's existing in the market is an important one. Because this is where all the consumers is already congregated to do a certain of their daily lives and all. If you have the ability to embed insurance within some of these activities within the platforms, even the example he shared earlier about helpers, in Vietnam, we work with a helper app. We call Viet, the company is called Viet. It basically is an app for helpers to go in and get jobs, right? Part-time jobs and all. And we just developed a simple product to say that every helper who goes in, when they collect the money, they just decide how small a sum of money they decide to park for insurance. And this is again making it accessible for them. And it's through a platform, through an ecosystem that you can enable that. It is impossible to expect a helper to reach out to an insurer and to try to buy a critical illness policy, for example. That's why this segment, for decades, insurers have been struggling to serve because it's too far away. And then the economic stacks that I mentioned earlier just make it unprofitable for insurers to do. But now I think we already have that capability to do so. Yeah.
So I'm going to look a bit further. I actually believe that the partnership with tech is with the LLMs. I actually believe that in a very short future, today already people do ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, DeepSeek a lot, but through text, right? But the voice is becoming more popular now, so you're actually talking to the AI. More and more people, particularly younger people, they will prefer this interaction. They will actually not go to the website anymore. They will not go to the apps anymore. The only interaction they have with information is actually through the AI and LLMs, okay? Now the LLM but it's too generic. It's lots of information is generic, okay? So I think the insurance companies and also the InsurTech should actually provide, I would say, insurance-related LLM as an API or MCP into the public LLMs because they are now the front-end portal to the world, yeah? So that will be the technology partnership going forward, yeah? Because that's basically the whole world. The whole world will be using the LLMs.
Cool. So the second question is, could you share a little bit some guideline for insurers in this room and tech provider in this room? How could they collaborate more to introduce cheaper products to the world, affordable products, more innovative products, co-create some new kind of products? Anyone want to share?
Sure, maybe I'll just go first. I think in today's world, we know tech is business, business is tech. And I think even for the very traditional insurers and all, I think the tech capability has already went much further ahead and all. But we got to be realistic. Insurer is not a tech company, right? You cannot be a Microsoft, you cannot be a, the Google of the world. But what you can do is obviously how do you find the right partners to partner you through this journey, right? So I think within the insurance world, I think how you differentiate is really your strategy, right? Do you decide to build, do you decide to buy, or do you decide to borrow, right? From the world of techs, right? And this tech partner that comes in, how do they support you through this journey, right? Because this is a very, as I mentioned earlier, this is a very efficient market. I do not believe, I've been in insurance for almost 20 years, and I do not believe you can introduce a new insurance product tomorrow and it become a runaway success. It will not be, right? It will take time to educate the consumer, and over time, then you reach a tipping point. So you need the tech providers or support that can take you together on this journey. And the intention of finding the right partner is critical, right? Because even like both the tech as well as the ecosystem partners that you work with, I think the intention must be similar to you if you have the intention to make insurance for all as your critical mission. Because if not, it's a party that works with you just want to monetize the database. I think it's going to be very hard. Even you can do it, you just create a very expensive channel, and in the end, you still cannot reach the unserved and underserved. So I think this is for the insurance to think about how do you want to find these right partners, and then the relationship with these partners, the like-mindedness must be there. Yeah.
So, and I fully agree with all the comments Peter made. I want to put on a different angle because we heard about the word affordability, okay? Now in the insurance, and I want to use one word to say, one of the biggest issues on affordability is debt weight loss. What that means is that when you have insurance, you've got premium, you've got claims, but you also have commission, okay? We know that in many, many countries, particularly in Southeast Asia, including Thailand, on the claim side, there's a lot of fraudulent behavior, fraud, waste, and abuse, either in hospitals, either in other channels, okay? Technology is now starting to come into play to reduce this fraudulent behavior, okay? That's number one, to make it affordable on the claim side. On the commission side, we also know that depending on the distribution channel, there's a lot of, let's say, tricky things happening, causing a lot of lapses, low persistency, okay? That is not providing value to the end consumer and also no value to the insurer either, okay? So technology is now being developed to tackle these problems, tackle this debt weight loss, to actually bring the benefit back to the consumer. And once we have that, that's fairer and more transparent for everybody, yeah? So I think technology is also quite important to do this.
So last question. So let's share some vision 2030. So what does the future of inclusive insurance look like? Who want to share first?
Sure. I think I don't even dare to think about it because I think the change is going to be so fast. But as I mentioned earlier, the key difference is that all the financial institutions, this is the regulated industries. So I think we do need to move with a bit more cautious. But having said that, I imagine the world then would be really, this is a case where consumers at any percentile of what I mentioned earlier within the 20 to 80 percentile has the ability and the freedom to do insurance in their own context that suits them, and it's not a case where it's just off the shelf and all. Yeah.
Fully aligned. I think it would be great if everybody in the society, they have some form of insurance as a safety net for themselves and their family. And particularly those that are underserved, they do not have to rely on the government because then it's also unsustainable. Yeah. So I think if we have that, that's actually great for society.
Okay, so maybe one last key takeaway for each of you for the insurer in the room. So what do you want to give one key takeaway?
Okay, just a quick one from me. I think with this vision of insurance for all, I think the end game must be a case where it's not a case where everybody is buying insurance. I think my hope would be a case where insurance becomes such a fundamental, invisible utility that everyone got access to, and it's just part of life, right? Anyone who needs it can access to it and can do it in their own terms, and that would be my hope. Yeah.
My hope would be on the technology front is that for insurance company where there's a lot of processes, use technology, use AI to simplify and automate those processes, but free up the time to focus on, let's say, better product design, inclusivity, and things like that. You know, really value-adding stuff. Yeah.
So thank you both for giving such a good answer.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Audio Jungle.